it's very important to trust your instinct. What I mean by that is that when you meet certain people in your life, you have this bad feeling or good feeling about them, right? Some people have this general warmth about them that they're, they come across as very approachable, that they seem genuinely kind before you even talk to them. And then when you talk to them, it can either go both ways. One, it's the opposite, or two, they actually are what you thought they were, which was friendly and genuinely kind. But then there are times where you meet certain people that have this very standoffish vibe. When you talk to them, they disagree with a lot of points that you say, or they get offended easily by certain things that you say. And then just the vibes are different with certain people, even if they're not directly going against what you're saying. There are some people that are just, you can sense arrogance about them. You can sense that they're cocky about certain things, or they come across as overconfident. But then later on in life, if you keep interacting with that person, maybe you kind of understand them more. Everyone has a reason why they behave a certain way around people, right? Some people in life were treated really, really poorly by others around them. Some people were taken advantage of in their lives. Some people were just really kind people, and then 10 years down the road, they've decided to change. They've decided to be more standoffish. They've decided to keep their life more private. They've decided to be more, speak less and listen more. People change, right? That's why, when you talk to certain people, the vibes can change. You may know someone from 5 years ago you thought that they were so cool, they were really, really approachable to talk to. You could talk to them about anything, and then 5 years later, or even a year later, you see the same person again, but they're different. You can sense something about that person. Something has changed about them. They become more private, or they become more quiet as a person, or they started to become more sensitive about certain topics compared to how they were before. And those reasons could be many things. It could be one, that maybe they had a bad relationship with somebody must have abused them, or some shit like that, or something really bad has just happened in their life that's caused them to change. But everyone in this world has a story. Everyone in this world has gone through something in their life that has been a life-changing experience for them, in both a good way and a bad way. Everyone has gone through loss. Everyone has gone through failure. Everyone has gone through change. Personality change, man. Some people's personalities completely change as you get older. Some people who you thought were very extroverted, that were the most popular person, they had so many friends, they talked to anyone. They had charisma. 5-10 years later, they like to be by themselves. They like to be alone. They like to keep their life private. They don't like to talk to others for too long. They get annoyed of others when they're surrounding them for too long, when they're with them for too long. It's because some people have just realized that, what's good for them and what's not good for them. And there's all different kinds of people in this world, right? When you travel to other countries, you're going to meet, everyone is going to, when you meet someone for the first time in another country, they're they may have different viewpoints and perspectives or beliefs than you do, right? They may have certain customs, may have certain behaviors that you think in your country that are considered rude, but in that country that you're at, it's maybe considered fine to do. For example, if you go to Japan, slurping, right? Slurping noodles, making noises is fine when you're like eating noodles. But if you do that in like the West, that's considered rude. It's considered gross. It's considered nasty, right? When you can't tip in Asia in general, you can't tip in Japan. It's considered very rude, right? But you're obligated to tip when you're in the West, Canada or the USA, right? When you're at a restaurant. So there's different things that, and people also think differently, right? Everyone's perspective on the world is different. Everyone's viewpoints on the world are different. And no matter how much you try to change someone, they will not change unless they decide to change themselves. You cannot force someone by the throat to change, because what you're doing is you're actually making the person not want to do what you want them to do even more. It's like a child. It's like the more you tell a child to not do something, the greater chance that they'll do it, right? If you're constantly pestering the child to do their homework, do your homework, go to bed early, go to bed early, go to bed early. Don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. You constantly put that in a person's ear. The pressure is going to get to them. They want to rebel. They're going to want to rebel. And it's the same thing with like even adults. Even adults in today's generation, when their workplace, there's bosses that freaking are going into their ear, telling them what the hell to do all the time. There are other people around them that tell them what to do all the time, how to behave, what opinions to believe, what career path to follow, this and that, right? You have all of these whispers and advice going into your ear, into your brain, and to a point where at some point you're just going to go insane. You're going to be like, you know what, F it. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to figure it out myself, what I want to do, because people like to control others, man. People love that. People love to control your thoughts, your emotions, what you believe. They want to do that because it makes them feel good. It makes them feel good that they have control over others, right? And the reality is that it's not good. It's degrading. The only person that you should truly listen to is yourself and intuition. You can obviously get advice from certain people that you care about, that you trust, but the most important person, the important thing you can do for yourself is to believe in yourself and trust your own decisions. That is the single most important thing that you need to do. And you also need to realize, have a sense of social awareness, and this only comes with socializing with people. Like, you can't just stay in your room all the time and not be able to socialize with anyone, because you won't learn how human interaction is. You won't learn the social aspect of human interaction, right? You won't learn this, because by experiencing people from all around the world, by traveling and talking to others, by going to different settings like a restaurant or a bar or a park or a grocery store, and you're having a conversation with someone and you're going to networking events, you're meeting new people. Not only could you could learn something new from the others, but you also develop a sense of social skills. You learn how to talk to people. You learn how to listen. You learn what kind of people you don't want to be hang around with. You learn what kind of people you do want to hang around with, that could level you up in life or that could make you improve as a person. And honestly, human interaction, social interaction with other people can be the most amazing thing ever. You can have some of the most amazing conversations with people. You can make some lifelong friends with some people. It could happen. You might meet your long lost partner, but that only happens if you actually start socializing and going out there and actually talking to people. If you're a very introverted person and you don't like socializing with people, try just exposing yourself to social settings. Like, you don't have to necessarily make the first move and talk to people, but try to be in a social surrounding where you can hear other people's conversations, where you're just surrounded by other humans. You can go to a cafe, sit down there, study, read a book, but you're in the background, you're hearing people. You're observing people, how they dress, how they behave, all this type of stuff, because this is actually good for you. This is actually good for your brain. It makes you more comfortable in surroundings. It makes you more comfortable to noise. You're able to, adapt to different surroundings. If you're hanging around all the time in just a library where it's quiet and everyone's doing their own thing, you really don't have much of a chance to truly learn what socializing is or to learn social awareness. You don't really have that opportunity. Whereas if you were to go to a noisy area like a cafe or a park or a mall, and you just sit there, even if you're just sitting there on a couch or something, you're still learning something. You're still learning. You're looking at people. You're doing people watching. You're observing how people are. You go to different clothing stores or different whatever places, and you're talking to the employee, right? The workers there. You're learning. You're learning how to talk to people. You're learning mannerism. Some people may talk to you with respect, so then you start talking back to them, like, thank you very much, I appreciate your help, stuff like that. And this is a very important skill to have as a person, because no matter what, you can't run away from people forever. You can't do that. There's just people everywhere in this world. At some point in your life, you're going to be exposed to human interaction, right? So you have to be able to be ready for that. You have to be ready to talk to people, right? You got to be able to talk to certain people a certain way, and depending on where you're at, it's a very good skill to have. You have to learn how to talk to people who are working in a corporate environment, you have to learn how to speak professionally to people. You have to learn when you're going through an interview process, you have to learn how to speak, how to talk, how to, what to say. When you're talking to children, you got to learn how to speak to children a certain way. When you're talking to a baby, a baby will not really understand too much of what you're saying. You're not gonna be boo gaga boo ga boo ga do ye ga, right? But the baby is gonna understand that if you're smiling, you're giving it, you're showing warmth and kindness, and the baby is gonna feel that energy. It's the same thing with other people too. People feel your energy. If you have a very serious face, you're looking down and you're walking, walking aggressively with arrogance. Some people may think you're unapproachable and they may not want to have a conversation with you and talk to you, which is absolutely fine if that's what you want to do. But I think the greatest and the most magical experiences in life are actually being able to socialize with people and making yourself approachable, to be talked to be vulnerable. When you are alone in anywhere you go, if you're solo traveling, that is a perfect opportunity for you to talk to locals. You can learn where the best sightseeing spots are. You can learn where the best local restaurants are. You may learn all these things, and you may make lifelong friends in these other countries, but it only happens if you're able to talk to people, if you're able to socialize, if you're able to keep up a conversation with someone, right? And, for introverts, because I'm introverted, and I'm more introverted than extroverted. So for me, I enjoy my alone time. I enjoy being away from people most of the time. But when I am exposed to people, when I am going to like a workplace or when I go to social events once in a blue moon, I'm still able to talk to people. I'm still able to hold conversations with people. And even if it's for a short period of time, that's great. That's a great skill to have. It can still be a wonderful experience. And I think our brain gets stimulated, and I also believe that our brain becomes what's the word, more in tune and more stimulated, and it's like you're training the brain by talking to people. If you're able to speak another language, that's also stimulating the brain, because you can communicate with people from another country, and your personality will also start to change, because the language also correlates with personality. You start thinking like how the locals think when you are speaking their language. So your brain starts to, you're working different parts of the brain, which is healthy. And that could also reduce your chances of getting dementia as you get older. But yeah, man, I honestly recommend everyone to just practice your socialization, your social skills. Expose yourself. If you're introverted, expose yourself to social environments. You don't have to approach people and talk to them if that's too much of a burden, but just expose yourself to the noise of people. Anyways, thank you for watching.